Hey campers, George here, back in the man cave. I was in San Diego for a week visiting my kiddos and discovered there was a bunch of antique molds. I went out, had a look, found this guy. Look at this. Let's check it out. So this is the guy we're looking at. And it's basically a pretty old single blade fisherman. Now, you know I have a couple of those. I've been collecting them. I love them. It's a great little knife. And back in the day, a lot of people carried these as an EDC, not just for fishing. And as you can see, yeah, it's really thin. It goes in your pocket. You can barely feel it. And I suspect that was the reason it was carried so much. This one is so thin like this because it's a single blade fisherman. The majority of them that you see out there are a two blade. They have the big long California clip, and then they have a separate blade, which is the tool, which has all the things you need for fishing. This one has it all in one blade and on the end of the handle here. And you can see the handle. Not sure what this material is. This side looks resin. This side, not so much. But I suspect it's been lying in a fishing tackle box, this side down, and, water and that sort of thing gathered. So it's discolored. The other thing is, it has these two holes, which I suspect was for a badge on there, which probably said fisherman. I'm going to look more into this and see what I can find. If I do, I'll share some pictures with you. But like I said, single blade. Has this unusual resin handle on it. It is broken, unfortunately, and that's why I'm looking at it and sharing it with you. I want to change the handles. And I have some, I want to say plastic. I think it may be G10 material that we can use. We'll get into it later. We're going to have to take it apart. I'm hoping it's not going to be too bad, because basically there's just 3 pins on it. There's one there, see it, one there and one there. That's it. Here's the blade, and you can see it's that long clip, comes all the way down, and it's got some really aggressive descaling teeth here. See that? Normally, if you see a lot of them today, those are rounded off a bit. These are not. The blade's in pretty good condition. It's rusty. It needs to be cleaned and sharpened, but it's still got a good shape. But like I said, it's the handle I'm looking at. And so on the blade, you have the descaler and your blade, which you would use to fillet, that sort of thing. And on the back here, that is where what they call the hook remover. Now, most of them have 2 blades. They have the separate tool. This one is a little older, I suspect. And this is an Imperial. Here is the tag stamp. Okay, you see it there? Here's a closer look at it. Kind of old. And you saw the info there. Now, like I said, the problem is this is broken and we're missing the badge. Can't do anything about the badge, but I can replace the handle, and that's what I want to do. I've got some material. I'm going to change the color. I'm not sure if it's G10 or not, but it's a pretty solid plastic. And I'm just going to replace both sides. Now, I haven't done many stripping knives. I've always struggled with the pinning on these, and there's always some disaster when I take it apart. This one I'm going to take apart. I want to replace the handles, and the reason I kind of sort of okay doing it, it only has 3 pins. Just how many can I mess up? That's the question. So, like you can see, very rusty, needs a good clean, and I think taking it apart we can really clean it up, and we'll put new scales on. Let's have at it. So here it is here, and I'm going to show you the handle material. I've got a box of goodies here. A lot of this stuff from you guys, as usual, helping me out. And To be honest, I considered this ironwood. It's desert ironwood. It was sent to me, and it's beautiful wood. But then I thought, it's wood. It's a fisherman. There's going to be a lot of water everywhere. I wanted to keep this for a different use, a different knife. I have a bunch of it. Here's some G10, beautiful G10, nice and thick. A little bit too thick for what I want. And this is the stuff I'm talking about that I have. Now, the decision I was having, yeah, what color? And I thought about green and blue. One of these two. And then I thought, well, fisherman, water is involved, so let's go with blue. So that's what I'm going to do. So, it is a thin knife, and that's why I went with the thinner. The other G10, I thought was a little thick, and you want to kind of keep it as close to the original as possible. There will not be no badge on it. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take the knife apart. We're going to dip it in some rust remover, clean everything up, shine everything up, and then cut out the handles. I think I just need one piece, which is a good thing. There's a money saver right there. So that's what we'll do. He says with confidence, if I don't mess it up. Now, let's get this guy apart. So I'm going to try something different, and I'm going to use razor blades. I actually saw this on a short that I want to see Southern Knife Enthusiast. I can't remember. Here it is here. I saw a short that he did. So I'm going to try that, and let's see what. First things first, always remember safety, glasses, gloves, all that sort of thing. We're playing with sharp and shinies, hammers, blades, all sorts of nasties. So please, if you're going to be doing this, be safe. So I got to remember how he did it, and we all know how bad my memory is. So what he did was he put the blade inside the handle, slipped it through, and then hit it down. Okay. Now, I got to remember how to do it, but I was looking here, and I'm kind of lucky. If you look, there's a slight gap there between the liner and the spring. So I'm hoping it'll fit in there and push it in just like that. See that? Okay. Now, the first problem I see right away is I have the blades going to be in the way. So I'm going to pull that out of the way without cutting myself. Like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to cut this guy here. See that guy? So I'm going to put this in the vise, sit the blade on there, and then bang down. And I already see I have a problem because now the blade's in the way there. So I'm going to do it that way. And let's see if we can get it to work. Brace yourself. You want to open the vise? Hope my vise is big enough for this. It's a little vise, but we'll see. We will persist. You're going to put the blade in there. Like that. Going to close it up a little bit because you want the base of the blade of the razor to sit on your vise. But you don't want to close the knife in on it. I'm going to have to take these off. Just like that. You see, now I'm going to hit the top here, and hopefully the blade is going to cut through. Yeah, should have started the other side maybe. I don't know. We'll try this way first. What's the worst that can happen? Huh. Look at that. Right through. Hey, we're ahead of the game. Now I'm going to take the blade out somehow to get that out of the way. See the blade there. Huh. You're going to turn around and cut back up, right? You want to keep the knife in the middle of the razor so that when you sit it down there, it's even. And here we go again. I was surprised how easy that cut through. I just don't want to mess mine. Oh, that's not good. There we go. Yeah, that's the. This is very. What a great idea this is, right? There we go. Look at that. We're ahead of the game. I bought a box of these. I'm glad it worked because it came in a nice box, and there's a bunch of them. You can store them nice and safely, and I've actually used, this is the one I use. You can see it's a little beat up, but it's still usable. I can put it back and save it. I like this idea. I'll also put other links of stuff that I use, so if you decide you want to do something, you want to use something, you can just click on the link below, or just search yourself. Amazon's pretty easy to find stuff if they have it. So you have the handles. Now these are glued on, and that though is a little bit of a problem, because I think trying to get them off, I might damage them, because I wanted to use them as a template, but now I'm thinking it doesn't really matter because it's got to match the liner. So there's that. We're going to use this. You can see the spring here. It's in pretty good nick. Just need to clean it all up. Here's the broken one. Huh. Oh, look at that. They put a... Oh, I wonder if I should do that. They put this little white liner with it. I wonder if that comes apart. I think it was all in one. That gave me an idea, so keep that in mind. I'm going to use these as a template. So let's dip this stuff, get them all cleaned up and everything. Then we'll mark out a template, cut it all up, shape it. We're going to glue it on and pin it. And of course I need to mark the holes where the pins will go. Okay, I'm using my Evapor Rust. I really like that stuff. It's reusable. I've been using this one for a while now. I've done a couple of restores with it and just mixed it back in, and it's still working. I just throw it in there, let them sit for an hour or 3. I like to give them a good soak. I find the longer you leave it in there, the deeper the rust remover goes, and when you've got a heavy rust, it really gets down there and makes it easy to clean them up. Should be wearing gloves with it. And then we'll make these things. And kind of like that idea. And I'm thinking I might just go with these two, the liners. We'll see. We'll let them sit. They've been sitting in here for an hour or 3. We're going to pull them out. And I'm going to just hit them with the Scotch-Brite just to get the big stuff off. Then we'll wash them off and start really cleaning them up. Let's see. Just want to get the heavy stuff off. Not worry about the insides, it's the edges that you want to shine up. So there's that. But the more stuff you can get off here, you're going to stop it rusting more. Going to have to get that glue off that they had on it. Get these pins out so we can mark them. Get rid of this stuff. I'm going to put it back in there because I can reuse it. Going to go wash these off now, clean them all up, just in some warm water, and then we can come back and hopefully get this thing back together again. And if you're wondering, I did get the blade out. I realized when I was pouring it out, I hadn't got to the blade. So I have them. I took the pins out. It wasn't as easy as it looked, and cleaned everything off. And now we're ready to start cleaning things up. Now, I'm not worried about this part of it. It's the edges that are going to show. So we're just going to clean up slightly. We'll give the blade a good going over, and of course the spring here. So we'll have that right now. Do it by hand if you haven't watched before. And I'm using 400 here, and I'm just going to give it a quick rub just to get rid of the rough spots. And you can see does a very quick job on it. So we'll just do that. Then I'm going to go across the tops here quickly. Same thing. We'll be polishing it and everything once it's finished. So you just want to quickly go over and get it prepped for the final polish, really, is what you're doing. You got that side. I'm going to do this side here. And here you can see we have some glue there that I'm going to have to take off. I'm going to use a little bit of heavier sandpaper and see if that'll get rid of it. It's not a big deal. I intend to use glue myself. Now, one thing, I don't know if I've ever showed you this before. If you look at these, this one shows up better, I think. There's a small trough that runs here. They've actually pressed it out. So this is slightly bulged and this is in. So that's important to know, because this is the outside. When you put this in, you're going to flatten on here with your scale. On the inside here, it's got a slight bulge and it holds everything together. Certainly when the spring is in, you'll see it on a lot of knives, where when you, especially if they have other liners, and it helps push everything together nice and flush. You don't get any flexing or any bowing on it. It really flattens it out nicely when you pin it together. That's the reason for the slight indentations. But we'll just get all this goop off. Well, it's not really goop, but it's patina mainly. When you look in the well, you can actually see the spring. So if we make it a little shiny, it looks better. So we got these guys done. You just clean them up and get them prepped. They're starting to shine already, but you just want to get rid of the rough stuff. You're basically prepping the surface for when you're going to go to a finer grade and start polishing. Now with the blade, I'm going to start off with 1000 and see how we do. If we can get most of this stuff off. If it doesn't work, we'll have to go a little bit heavier. But we'll start at 1000 because I don't want to take too much metal off my blades. And this is a foam-backed, very fine 1000 grit. And you can see it already polished it up nicely there. We'll be going over with 2000, probably 1000 again, and then 2000, and then we'll use mothers to polish it, do the final polish. But of course we've got to get the whole thing together. And I much prefer to take a knife apart and clean it like this, but I'm not very good at it and I struggle to get it back. But you get a better clean. You can get really into the crevices. You can get everything shined up. And here you can see the difference as we look at it. So this is making a really nice clean up on it without taking too much metal off. And there you have it there. See how much nicer it looks when it's shiny. Like I said, it will eventually patina, Here you can see the, I think, the tang stamp a little clearer. So, there we are. Surprisingly, when I was taking out the pins, I noticed that they were brass. They weren't steel, which, thinking about it now, makes sense because it's a fishing knife. It's going to be around a lot of wet. So having brass is going to save on the pin and stop any rust. And there's not that much pressure on this. Guys, I want these guys to mark out where the scales are going to go. Okay, so here we have, I don't know if you can see that, but we have them marked out. Now I'm just going to cut them. I'm going to trim them down reasonably close to the shape. We'll drill the holes. We're going to pin it together, and then we'll clean up the edges, polish, and all that good stuff. Okay, so I've got I just temporarily pinned it together because I want to make sure that I have enough room to clean up everything without running out of room, and we look pretty good. That'll give you an idea of what it'll look like when it's done. So now what I'm going to do, the trick here is I have the pinholes for the outsides, but let me show you, the spring here has a pinhole along the top here. That'll be the last pin we put in. Now, it's basically going to be the very last thing I do because I have to trim everything down. Then I put it in the vise and squeeze it until the hole lines up. That puts the tension on the blade here. So we got to get it all together. I just wanted to make sure that these lined up. So now I've got to make sure these holes are going to line up. I'm just using JB Weld clear 2-part epoxy. This works really well. It's got to mix it together. You want to mix it together for about a minute. You want to get it well mixed. I'm not going to use a lot. I just want to hold those two pieces together so they don't come apart. I don't need a lot. I just want them to hold together. That's it. And then we can take it apart, put it all together. We're going to have to drill that hole and then pin it all together, and then we'll back from work. Let's get these apart here. Alrighty, here we are. So we're going to put this all together, allegedly. But before I do that, I need to drill the holes in this. Got to get these lined up and drill them through there. And hopefully it all lines up. This off, and I'm going to use my Dremel press, and we'll drill through, and hopefully everything lines up. Then we can pin it together, and we're going to trim all this down, and hopefully we can then clean up. See, here we have the layout. We got to put it together. Right. Like that. goes there. This goes there. This goes there. Okay. This. There we have it there. This goes around long enough. Because I can't push that down. The plan is this. You see the layout. Now you can see here there's a lot of extra of this. We got to get rid of this so that I can put this in the vise and squeeze it and then push this pin in. Okay, I had to go outside and do it. It was just getting too dusty in here, and I don't want this stuff floating everywhere. Okay, I took more off, and I've got it in here, and I think I'm through. We should be able to get the pin in there. Huh. I have dust everywhere. Ha! We got it, I think. Oh yeah, look at that. Lots of snap. So now you can see it there, and we've got that nice snap on that. Look at that. Wow. Nice. So now we've got to finish pinning it off, and that for me is always a tough thing to do. But we'll get that pinned. Okay, so far so good. And we can open the blade and we still got snap. So there's a positive thing. Now we're going to do this one. Same thing again. Okay, we got them all pinned here. Problem is I scratched the scales. I'm hoping that'll clean up. We can always hope, right? So now I want to get the scales to exactly match the liners. So I'm not going to use my Dremel. I'm going to use a flat diamond file or something and try and get it nice and flat and smooth. And then that was some hard work. A lot of dust everywhere. Fortunately, I had my respirator, so that helped. You can see it here. It's a little dusty, but I kind of rounded off the edges here, smoothed off the pins a little bit. Some still need some more, so I'll rub that some more, and we're getting somewhere now. So see there. Keep going and working it, and then when I feel I'm where I want to be, my problem is I never know when to stop. I'll just keep working at it until I feel it's good, and then we'll clean it up, wipe it off and everything, and see where we are. And then we're going to look at polishing it and then sharpening it, and we should be ready to go. Woot. I think I've gone as far as I want. I want to go and wash it off, get all the dust off and see where we are. And then I'm going to try some polish and see if it'll bring this up and everything up. So I washed it all off and that. So now I want to try some mothers on this plastic. I'm not sure if it's G10, but I want to see if mothers can bring it out more. Just going to try it quickly. Why? I'm now going on to a 16-hour day. 12 of it was work, and speaking of shine, I need to go to bed. But look at that. It really brings out the metal, doesn't it? So we're almost there, but I am running out of steam. I'm no longer that young, full of beans person I used to be. What do? You keep at it in the morning after a little bit of rest. Morning, campers. All rested after a long day yesterday. I'm going to sharpen the blade, and I'm going to use my Zarlik, I think it's pronounced, sharp system. It's a portable that they have I really like. You want to know more about it, there'll be stuff in the description. YouTube provides it. I don't know what it's about, but if you want to look up anything, it'll be there. It'll give you an idea of what you're dealing with. A quick look of how it works, and you'll see me doing it, and then polish time, and we should be done. So very cool, very exciting. Here we go. Okay, I used my angle finder here, and this is just the Klein, and it's very inexpensive, and it's a must-have when you're using this style of sharpener. I'm at 16.8. It's about as close. I want a 17-degree angle on it. So quick look. That's how you would do it. This jaw here holds your knife. That's the vertical position of the knife. So you would put it there to measure it, and then you would set this angle, adjusting it up here. So I'm at close to 17 as I can get, and all you're going to do is just sweep. I just like to sweep the same direction every time. Do that a couple of 100 times. You don't need to do it that much. You just want to get a good edge on it, and then you want to flip it over, and you're just going to do that. Let me get this out of here, and do the other side. Now, when you're doing this, the trick is, once you've done it a couple of times, if you feel on the other edge here, you'll feel a little like scratchy piece, and you want that scratchy piece to feel the whole length of the blade, because what you're doing is when you're sharpening, you get a little edge fold over there. Then you're going to flip it over and do it a couple of times until you don't feel anything on both sides. Then you know you're good to go. So I'm just going to do this a couple of times. Now, some people say, some people do it this way. Does it make a difference? I don't know. I just feel more comfortable doing it the same way. I feel I'll get a more consistent edge. So we're good here. I'm actually at 2,000 on this, and it tells me there. So now I'm going to take it off. Let's see how sharp it is. That wasn't a good start. There you go. And you can see it does the job. So we've got a nice clean edge there. I really like the way that this snaps back. This is a really nice spring on the back, I'm glad to say. And of course, snaps in nicely. Now, a quick polish using mothers, and we should be done. My mothers, I really like this. I've probably said that 100 times every time I do this. One of the reasons, and you don't need a lot, you just want to put a little bit on the blade like that, either side. And then you're just going to rub it in. And what I like about mothers is it gives you a very consistent shine. You don't have to press hard or anything. Just be careful. You just sharpen this. So kind of important. And you rub, and you'll get a black residue on there, and that's basically it, just cleaning everything up. And the more you do it, obviously the better it's going to look, more consistent when you just back and forth. all edges. It really does a pretty good job. Now the other side here. Now it will leave a little black residue on there. I like to just clean it off, wash it off, and I use, believe not, this wood furnishing thing, and it cleans all the residue from the mothers off, and it really cleans it up nicely. Now I'm going to do the rest. All these edges. And you can, it really brings out the metal really nicely. I'm really happy with this. And there we are there. See that? You can see the white liners in there. It made the handle a little thicker. Is it a problem? No. One thing I did do was clean up the edges and everything so that they weren't sharp. So there you go. A nice little project. A couple of things that I learned. What do they say? You're never too old to learn, right? Here it is here. You can see it there. And you have your white liner with your blue. You've got your blade. See it there. Cleaned up very nice. I like the way this turned out. I like a fisherman. They're nice. It's kind of like an electrician's knife. I like them. I like a certain unusual series or older series that you don't see so much anymore. It's cool to find them, and I've found a bunch. Most of them are the 2-blade. Let me grab one for you. This one obviously is way older. You know, this is from way back. It has the single blade, your scale remover here. You've got a nice blade to fill it with, and a hook remover. Very plain. You know, here is one from Colonial. See that? See the difference? Look how thick it is. And it's the 2-blade version, and it has a little bit extra on it. You can see it has that long clip, and this one has a nice badge on it. That one did as well, but it was lost. I didn't have the option for another one. Plus the scales were damaged. And that reminds me, I really like those scales, and I wish I'd been able to keep them or find some more of that material. I'll keep looking, because if I ever do, I'm going to be putting it back on there, because I'd like to keep this as traditional as possible. I mean, it still is traditional, except the handle is, the handle material is different. And like I say on this one, this is Colonial. And, they have the fancy handles and the badge and everything. The main difference is it has another tool. And you can see it here. Now, on this tool, you have your hook remover, you have your descaler here. They provide a bottle opener, which every fisherman should have. And that's the big difference. You can see them here. This one is a single blade. And to be honest, really, that's all I need. If I'm going to catch and cook, this will do everything I need. So, very cool. Really like this. Things I learned on this job is brass pins are way easier. I have to get better tools for the pins. When I say better tools, to cut them to the correct length before you start pinning them down. Problem I have right now is my cutters are too big, and it's really hard to clip it down. What I have to do is clip it as close as I can and then file it down to how much space I want to need before I pin. That's been one of my problems. I start pinning and it's too long. It sticks out both sides. You don't want that. You want as close as you can. because when you start to pin, the pin bends. You know, it'll start to peen over, but it bends, and then you're done. You got to start again, especially with stainless or a stronger, tougher steel. With the brass, it's a lot softer and a lot more forgiving. That was nice. The other thing is, obviously, like I said, when I'm having to file that pin down, I've got to be more careful. You know, I scratched the blade. I don't know if you can see there. Scratched it in a couple of places, which is kind of irritating. I got to be more careful, obvious. And this turned out pretty good. It really cleaned up the blade, all, you know, the spring, the liners, you know, the steel liners. It's so much better to be able to take a knife apart and clean it up. You can get everywhere with it. And yeah, it's an old guy. Even older than me, I think. What can I say? If that's possible. So there you go. A nice, simple project. When I do these, the main reason I show them is that I want people to see that, you know, you can do it yourself. And it doesn't require a lot. This is not an expensive hobby. If you go out and shop at malls and swap meets and that, you can find an old beater, take it home and restore it without spending a fortune doing it. And that's the big thing for me. I'm on a budget, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you are. So it's a nice way to get a little collection going, and it's fun. I love doing this. You know, I do everything by hand just because I feel it makes me feel better when I'm done that. Wow, look, I did that without using any fancy machinery or anything. So, and of course, you will be safe when you're doing this. Sometimes I'll polish, then shine. Sometimes I'll sharpen and then shine, polish it. And sometimes polish, then sharpen. It's obviously safer to polish than sharpen. Because once you've sharpened it, you know, you're holding the blade, you're trying to polish it. Got to be a little bit careful, and I should do it that way. Sometimes I want to sharpen it. And this sharpened up really nice. Nice little knife. Fun knife to have. And of course it adds to my fisherman collection. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You know the story. I'll be back. I know I will, because I'm about to start editing videos. This one, another video from my trip to San Diego. This one was a lot more promising, and you will see this guy when I bought it. We went to a couple of swap meets in San Diego, the first one. Thanks for watching. Always appreciate, you know, when you guys comment and like videos, and that it really encourages me to do more. I try to vary what I'm doing. I've been doing a lot of this lately. I went on a camping trip, and I like to do that and share that with you. Fishing, winter is here. Unfortunately, we just had a bunch of rain, and that really affects the ice on the lakes. So you have to be really careful. It melted, so your ice shrinks. Got to be careful of that. So hoping to go this weekend. Probably Travis and I will go out and we'll check the ice. If it's good, we go fish. And you will learn about it. Safe New Year, and we'll see you again.